Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Dramani Online Mathematics, and today we want to look at separable differential equation. Separable differential equation. As the name goes, we are going to separate things, whether the dependent variable from the independent variable, or we try to group the x and the y in one position. Is that okay? So now let's assume that we have something like this. Is that okay? Now, when you have something like this, you realize that this m here is a function in terms of x and y, and this function is multiplied by the x, and this function n is also in terms of x and y, and it's multiplied by what? The y. Now you can have this one is not separated because here is the x, so we have to have a function in terms of x alone multiplying this. At that point we can say that it's what? Separable. The same thing applies to this. So how can you do? It can only be separable when we have it in terms of m, in terms of this, now when you have something like this, you can see that we have separated it, because this one is in a function of x and it's multiplying or dx. At the same time, the n subscript, so n in terms of y is a function of y, and it's also multiplying what? Dy equals 0. So this one is separable. So when we talk about separable, we try to group the functions of y and its derivative together, and the function of x and its derivative together. So now let's look at an example. Okay, so now let's have this example and let's see what the separable means. If you look at this one, this is x times y prime. So it means that I can write this one as x y dy dx equals 1, because the dy dx is the same as y prime. Now looking at this one, this is not separable because we have x and we have y multiplying dy dx. Is that okay? So what is going to happen is that we group the dx and its function x at one place, and the dy and its function y at one place. That's what we are going to do. So here you realize that I can do cross multiplication here to get xy equals, xy dy equals dx, right? So what I need to do here is that it's a matter of sending this x to this place, so that here will be y dy is separated, and the x coming to here becomes dx over x. So all I need to do is to divide here by x, divide here by x. So when I do that, I have y dy equals 1 over x dx. Now when you have something like this, you can say that it's separable or it's separated. So we have, I can rewrite it as this. Is that okay? Very good. So that is how we separate what functions. So now let's look at some more examples. Okay, so now let's look at these examples. Identify the separable equation from among the following list of what? Differential equations. So we want to just look at the separable ones there. So let's try to separate them. So we take the first one, the I. The I is y prime equals t squared y squared. Okay. Now, if you look at this one, the independent variable is now t, not x, okay? So what you are going to have here, the y prime is going to be dy dt equals t squared y squared. You can easily separate this. Let's group like terms. So we have dy is going to be t squared y squared. Sorry, we just do cross multiplication. Now looking at this one, here the y is here, the y is here. So if I want to send the y squared to this place, I just divide both sides by what? Y squared. So I'm going to have dy over y squared equals t squared dt, and this is separated. Have we seen that? Yes. Now let's look at the I. Sorry, so I. Let's see how we can separate the I. So we have y prime equals t minus y, t plus y. And again, the independent variable here too is t, because we have t and y. So the dependent is y and the independent is t. So we write this one as dy dt equals t minus y over t plus y. Have you seen that? So now, this point, you are going to do cross multiplication. So this one will come here, this one will go there. So we are going to have t plus y dy equals t minus y dt. Is that okay? So having this, what do? You multiply, so you have t dy plus y dy equals t dt minus y dt. Okay, so now this is t dy, y dy, this is separable, right? T dt minus y dt. So you realize that t is still attached to dy, and there's no way that you can take this one out. So it tells you that this function y prime equals t minus y over t plus y is not what? Separable. It's not separable. Is that okay? So it can only be separable when we're able to attach the y to the a derivative, that's the dy, and we're able to attach the t to a derivative, that's the t. That's where we say it is what? Separable. By this time around, you realize that some of them is attached to ds though, but you realize the t and the dy does not go together, and there's no way that we can take it out. Is that okay? So it's not separable. Now let's I'll take the iv. I'll do the iv then for the last one, which is the the I, which is y prime equals y minus y squared. You can do it at your leisure time. So let me take the 2t minus 1 y squared minus 1 y prime plus t minus y minus 1 plus ty equals 0. Now what you are going to do here is that you realize this t minus 1 y minus 1 plus ty, we can regroup them. So if you want to regroup this, what you are going to do is that we have 2t minus 1 y squared minus 1 y prime plus, so I'm going to regroup this one. I have t here, I have y here, I have y here. That one depends the way you want to group it. Is that okay? So if I'm going to group it this way, t minus 1 plus ty minus y equals 0, or t minus 1 then ty minus 1. So now let's see what you're going to do. So let me repeat this one, which is 2t minus 1 y squared minus 1 y prime. Now this y prime can also be written as dy dt, because the independent variable is t, plus t minus 1 plus now y is here, y, so I can factorize y out. That will give me t minus 1 equals 0. I hope you can see that. Good. Let me clean the top one. So now I'm trying to transfer this one to the top. So you realize that 2t minus 1, that one I'll repeat it again. So I have 2t minus 1. Then we have y squared minus 1 dy dt plus, now this is t minus 1 and here too is t minus 1. I can also put this one in this thing. So since this t minus 1, this t minus 1 factorization, I can pick one of these. Then I will also pick their, this one, the number out here is 1. Have you seen that? So I'm going to have 1 plus y, then t minus 1. So I have 1 plus y, then t minus 1 equated to 0. Is that okay? So now that we have this, now we can easily do something here. You realize that I can send all this one to this place. So let's do that and see. 2t minus 1 y squared minus 1 dy dt equals negative 1 plus y t minus 1. Is that okay? So now that we have this, I can send this one here. That's cross multiplication. So that I'll have 2t minus 1 y squared minus 1 dy equals negative out 1 plus y t minus 1 dt. Is that okay? But the truth is that we want to group them, whether it's separable or not. So this is y squared minus 1 is attached to the y. So what we don't need here is the t. And this side too, t is attached to this t. What we don't need here is the what? The y. So what we are going to do is that we divide through by 1 plus y. Then when I come here, divide here through by 2t minus 1. So you see what you are going to get. Unless I take this one, see whether it's separable or not. So what I'm saying is that, let me repeat it, 2t minus 1 y squared minus 1 dy. So I'm going to divide here by, 2t minus 1. Then here what I don't need here is 1 plus y. The same thing equals to negative 1 plus y t minus 1 dt. So I'm going to also divide here this side by the same thing. So I'm going to have 2t minus 1 plus y, then you close it like this. Is that okay? So you realize that here this will go with this, so that we are going to have y squared minus 1 over 1 plus y dy equals, so this side to this will cancel this one, so that I have negative t minus 1 dt over 2t minus 1. So this one become separable. So you see that that long differential equation there was a separable one. I hope you can see that. So this is a separable one. Okay, so that's how we test for whether a function is a separable or not. Okay, please try to subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it to your friends. In fact, I need more subscription. Please help me, support me. Thank you very much.